Hey everyone. So as you guys have probably noticed, I've taken a bit of a hiatus from the blog. It's not because, I ran out of things to write. I literally have a whole wealth of stories to write. But I figured I'd do something different and do a video blog. So that's what this is. I'm so excited to do this video blog. It's going to be more fun for me because I am really a talker, not a writer. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I hope you guys like it. If you have any feedback or anything that you want to let me know, just feel free to do so. So today we are doing a Q&A. So I have a couple of questions here from some of you guys, and I'm really excited to get into it. All right, cool. So, my first question is actually about money, which is a really difficult thing in relationships, and it's never not awkward. But the question is this: it comes from one of my good friends, something that we've actually talked about before. So, this is his dilemma. So he's been dating this girl for about a year now. Whenever they go out, she never offers to pay. He can probably count on one hand in the past year how many times she's offered to pay for something, and it's always for smaller things like Starbucks or ice cream or something like that. So his question is this a concern? Yes, it's a concern, but maybe not in the way that you might think. So before we kind of get into this, women are constantly like torn between these two schools of thought, right? You have the idea that you should be an independent woman and you don't need no man and you always have to have your own and you shouldn't rely on men for anything, right? That exists over here. And then you have the other school of thought that says, well, you're a woman and you should be courted and you should be treated nicely, and your man should take care of you. And so we're like constantly sitting in between these two things. And it's kind of like, okay, like, do you want me to pay for dinner or do you not want me to? So just keep in mind that it can be kind of like a difficult situation for women to be in. But with that being said, yes, it is concerning. But the reason why it's concerning isn't because she hasn't offered to pay. The reason why it's concerning is that you've been dating this girl for a year and you don't feel comfortable bringing this up to her. Right. So I think that that's really the bigger issue, is that if this is something that you feel like is putting a strain on you, on your relationship, on you financially, you should feel comfortable enough to go to your partner and say, hey, dude, what the hell? Because like occasionally we have to do that with our partners. Sometimes you got to hit your partner with a good like, dude, what the hell, right? And so this is one of those moments where I feel like if you don't feel comfortable having that conversation, you probably have issues within your relationship that go a lot deeper than she never offers to pay. So I would just do a little bit more, I guess, kind of digging, figure out, hey, why don't I feel comfortable having that conversation? It's not an easy one to have. I know that it's not an easy conversation to bring up. But just think about the ways in which you're communicating, because if you're not saying, hey, this is what I need, this is what I feel like I need from you, you're never going to get it, right? You don't ask, you don't get. So I would just start there. Start by being a little bit more vocal. And if for some reason or another you feel like, no, this is not, I can't do this, I don't want to do this, then maybe just think about where you stand with that person. All right, so my next question actually comes from someone I don't know, which is exciting that people who aren't my close family and friends are actually reading the blog. So, yay, this is fun. So the question is this. Basically, she is a go-getter, right? She likes to travel. She likes to learn new things. She likes to be in situations where she feels stretched and challenged. And her boyfriend is not so much into that. The word that she used to describe him was a settler. And that's a rough one, girlfriend. So the question basically is, hey, I realize that my boyfriend is kind of a settler. I am not. Is this something that I feel like is a deal breaker for me? Um, so it's difficult to say, right? Because there's a difference between somebody who just hasn't had the exposure, right? Somebody who, maybe they have lived in the same place their whole life, or, they have had the same friends since they were like 10 years old, and, aren't really trying to expand themselves and do new things. There's a difference between somebody who just like hasn't really had the opportunity and somebody who is actively against it. So in your case, I think that that's the first thing that you need to see. You need to see, hey, is my boyfriend somebody who is actively against trying new things, going to new places, having new experiences? Or are they somebody who just, they haven't been in a situation where, they feel comfortable enough to stretch themselves and do something out of the ordinary for them? So I think that that would be your first step. First step is just to figure out who you're dealing with here. Um, if you determine that this person just needs the exposure, they just need a shot to do something new, then no, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with somebody having a different set of life experiences than you. If you find that this person is actively opposed to anything new, anything different, um, you might just want to kind of pause and reevaluate, what kind of person it is, because it sounds like this is something that's important to you. I'm very much the same way, right? If I'm not slightly uncomfortable, I'm not having a good time, right? So if you feel like, hey, this is how I live my life, and I want somebody who's going to be able to be right there with me doing this somewhat uncomfortable thing and having the new experience and traveling and, whatever, if those things are important to you and your partner has pretty much said, nah, then yeah, you may be on different pages. And it also kind of depends on how serious your relationship is, right? If this is somebody that, you're thinking long term with, and you're thinking like, okay, this is somebody that I could potentially start a life with, just think about if you're willing to give that part of you up. And if that'll make you resent this person for as long as you're with them, because that is a very real possibility. So I would just think about it. Think about it that way. Is this something that I'm willing to compromise on, or is this absolutely not? This is my life. Take it or leave it, buddy. If that's the case, whatever. Yeah, dump him. I feel like that's like my advice most of the time. It's just like, yeah, throw him out, get a new one. But there is some validity to that. If you feel like you're being stifled, you feel like you can't do the things that you want to do because you don't have that support from your partner, then it's probably not healthy for either one of you to stay in that situation. But if you feel like, you can do some encouraging and maybe push him towards the things that you want to do, and maybe be able to share a new and different and exciting experience with him, yeah, I feel like for the most part, when you do things like that, it just brings you closer together. So, go for it, or don't, or dump him, sis. Like, I don't care. I think that either way, depending on what it is that you want, what it is that you feel like you need from your partner, if they're not able to give it to you, spending your time trying to force it out of them is only going to make things worse. Okay, so my next question also comes from somebody who I don't know, which is exciting. Thank you for reading my blog. The question is very simple. It has a very not simple answer. The question is this: is it ever a good idea to date a friend? Okay, so on paper, dating a friend is a great idea, right? It's probably, honestly, on paper, dating a friend's probably the best idea, right? Because you know this person already, you've seen them interact, you know that they are probably, like, you probably have a good idea of whether or not they're an asshole. And, you've probably seen them interact with other people of the opposite sex. So, yeah, no, you probably have things in common. It's a great idea on paper. Um, the problem there is that, like, in reality, it's like not a good idea at all. Um, I'm not saying it's the worst idea, but it is not the best idea, especially if there is a close friendship there. So you can kind of look at it like on a spectrum, right? Because it depends on the situation. It depends on the kind of friendship that you have. So we'll start all the way over here and we'll work our way over. So it's like, okay, if you're out with a group of friends and, you probably have been drinking for a little bit and you're single and lonely and it's kind of like, okay, well, this is happening. So, you know, after you're kind of like, is this the kind of thing that we're just never going to talk about again? Yep. Yep. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, never gonna talk about it again. Like, see you later. Okay. That happens. One time, it's not gonna kill you, right? Like, it's not gonna ruin everything. It might, but it probably won't. Um, so yeah, if that happens, whatever, move on. You're cool. You can do it. Then I hear a lot of people who are kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like this like no strings attached type sort of relationship that I have with my friend. And I'm like, that's not a thing. That doesn't even exist. There's no such thing as a no strings attached relationship with a friend because that's the whole point of a no strings attached relationship is that like you just are using each other for the physical benefits. There's no other connection there. But if you're friends with this person, you already have that connection and the connection is that you're friends. So, no, you can't have a no strings attached relationship with a friend. Call it something else. I don't care. Call it whatever you want to call it. It's not that. The next step is, yeah, we're friends with benefits, right? We all know that term, friends with benefits. I don't have to break it down here. You know what it means. Um, so I say to somebody, hey, so like you're friends with benefits. What does that entail exactly? It's like, oh, we're friends. We hang out. We'll do things. We'll go to dinner and like get drinks and like do some fun things. And then like, but we also hook up. That's the problem. The problem is that being friends with benefits with somebody is exactly the same as the beginning stages of dating someone. The only difference there is the intention behind each of those things. And if you don't clearly state what the intentions are, somebody will probably get hurt. Here's the problem. If you do state what your intentions are and you're not on the same page as that person, somebody will probably get hurt. So it's kind of one of those things, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, which makes this really, really difficult. The one thing that I will say is that if you have a friend, and it's kind of like an acquaintance more than an actual friend, it's like a friend of a friend, or it's like your friend's roommates, friends from a home's brother, like, okay, this is a different situation. If it's somebody that you kind of know peripherally, yeah, go ahead. If this is like somebody that you consider one of your really, really good friends, it's probably makes it a lot more difficult, right? And that's kind of the most messed up thing about it, is that it's like if you kind of have to go into the situation understanding that there's a chance that your friendship might be ruined by this. And so when you enter into something like that, it's kind of like it makes more sense to enter into it with somebody that you're kind of just like meh about. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, yeah, he's okay. He's not one of my good friends. He's all right. And then on the flip side, it's like a bad idea to enter into something like this with somebody who you know and you like, and maybe you've been friends for a while. Like that makes it so much more difficult because there's a real friendship there that's at risk. So I guess to sum all of this up, is it ever a good idea to date a friend? I don't know. It depends on your situation. It depends on, am I willing to risk this friendship for the potential of a relationship? Depends on a lot of things. So I guess it really depends on your particular situation. But the thing that you always have to be aware of is this: is that there is a potential that things can go south, like real far south, to the point where you guys like don't even have any sort of relationship, friendship or otherwise anymore. Um, So, as long as that's a risk that you are aware of, as long as that is a risk that you are carefully weighing and not just one of those things in the moment where it's like, oh, yeah, what the heck, why not? As long as you're carefully weighing that situation and you genuinely do feel that you know, the the benefits outweigh the risks, then yeah, go ahead, go for it. I will never say no to anybody who is speaking their truth with passion. So, do the damn thing. All right, everybody. So that was it. That was the first video blog. I hope that you liked it. I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. It was a lot of fun for me. So if you guys have any feedback, if you like this format, if you want me to do more of those things, then I'll actually invest in like real video editing tools so that we can get rid of this little guy here. Use WeVideo, I guess. And if it's something that you guys want to see more of, absolutely, it's something that I want to do more of anyway. So even if you guys don't like it, to be honest, I'm probably still going to do it. So reach out to me, let me know your thoughts, and send me more questions for our next Q&A. Thank you guys so much. See ya.